Hey there, NASCAR fans. Welcome into another episode of the Highline Podcast. He's, of course, William. I'm, of course, Jason. We look to previewing the upcoming Bass Pro Shops and night race down at the Bristol Motor Speedway. But, of course, we'll always make sure we look back at the previous race, and we're going to do so. And the intensity is going to ramp up just one more notch coming up this week into Bristol as we take another step closer into going from 16 drivers down to 12 drivers as we're at the cutoff race. So, again, but before we get on into Bristol, let's say what up to William, and then let's dive into the Hollywood Casino 400.
All right, guys, this weekend is Bristol, and we're going to see 4 drivers going home, and their chances of a championship are going to 0. And at the moment, 4 drivers are Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and Kyle Busch. And Kyle Busch yesterday announced his 2023 plans, and you best believe that he is starting to feel a little bit more comfortable because he knows he's going to be in a seat in the Cup Series next year with a top organization. So Kyle Busch, I will believe, will go to the next round. But who will be the other driver that doesn't go? Because one of them on the top 12 has to go down if Kyle Busch goes. And I look at Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez as possible drivers to miss out here. But we'll talk more about it in the video. But I'm looking forward to the Bristol night race.
Yeah, you mentioned there about Kyle Busch. I watched that press conference live. He obviously looked relaxed, as he should, because the whole contract situation was off his shoulders. But just he looked relaxed. He was making jokes. RC was making some jokes. It was just kind of a very relaxed setting right there. And I think it will be a little bit of relief as he now move through the playoffs. And while maybe he is below the cutoff line now, I don't expect him to below the cutoff line. Certainly not going to Bristol, a track that he's been strong of. You mentioned those 4 drivers that are below the cutoff. When we entered going into Kansas, it was Cindric, and now Kyle Busch has replaced Cindric. The other 3 guys are the same there, and Dillon, Briscoe, and Harvick. William, I'm going to lean on you this week. Normally we can go back and forth, and we can recap the race, and we have a good time recapping the race. This one fell on NFL Week 1. I had the Red Zone on the TV. I had the NASCAR on the tablet, which was on the arm of the chair. I was aware of, generally speaking, what was going on, but I was on NFL Week 1. Why don't you give us a good recap of Bubba Wallace taking home that checkered flag there in Kansas?
All right, here I was on the same boat with you watching the NFL, but I did keep a close eye on NASCAR. Early on, we saw Harvick and the 8 car of Tyler Reddick having big issues, forcing them to retire from the race. And they did not collect much points at all, and there's no guarantees by any means for them advancing to the round of 12. Harvick is 32 points behind. He can still point his way in, but more than likely it's going to take a win, but not 100% in a must-win situation. Tyler Reddick, on the other hand, picked up a couple of wins in the regular season, so he's feeling good about himself. Not much to worry about there for Tyler Reddick. But the race went on. We saw a lot of cautions for some odd reason. And at the end, we saw Bubba Wallace getting past the 20 car and running away with it, and Wallace did not look back at all. Last year, a lot of people can say with Wallace, hey, NASCAR gave him the win at Talladega because of rain. This year, he went out there and flat out earned it. And you obviously got to show respect to that because not many people can do that. And that 45 car is still going for the Owners' Championship, and that 45 is in the round of 12 when it comes to the Owner Championship. So bravo there. And, it's Bubba Wallace got the first win of the season. And I believe next year he's starting to click with this next-gen car. It would not surprise me at all next year he starts to win multiple races.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in his future. You know, we mentioned Bubba Wallace. I thought we mentioned him last week on the preview show of the Hollywood Casino 400. I thought he was going to be strong this past weekend. Look, he was strong in May. He was strong at Michigan, which I thought Michigan is a good comp to Kansas. And then also, no surprise to me that he was good this past weekend. Toyotas were good this past weekend. No big surprise. We mentioned how they were really strong at Kansas last time we came here. 23-11 winning that Kansas race. Really weird that 23-11 both picks up 2 wins this season. Both of them come at Kansas. So a little interesting note right there. Christopher Belle, obviously the only driver that was able to lock up his seat in the round of 12 based off this past weekend. Good, strong. You know, yeah. I wish I watched it more. You said you kept a close eye on it. I just kept a eye on it. Like I said, it was right here at the arm of the chair. I kind of want to just go to Bristol just because I didn't really watch Hollywood Casino 400. First time I haven't watched a race in a long time this season. So, anything else you want to say on it? I just don't have much to add.
I can say for future references, the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for 2023 should be coming out today or tomorrow.
Yep.
But please, for opening college football weekend, keep it on a Sunday night. But for the NFL first weekend, please race on a Saturday night. You'll get more audience, trust me. And you don't want to go head to head with the NFL, and that's what they did, and they clearly lost to a lot of games. So they can make an adjustment here and there, and definitely they got to get well before November because that's when the NFL season's starting to fire up. We know who's good and who's bad. And NASCAR shouldn't be going that long. If anything, they should be going to mid-October.
Yeah, I have already got a bone to pick with that schedule because they've got the July Chicago street race on July 4th weekend. We always like to go to Michigan that weekend. There's a great fireworks show on the other side of the lake. I've already told the wife we're going to leave a day later because I want to go to that race. I want to get hot passes and be down up in there. So just might as well got to be on July 4th weekend. One of the best weekends in Chicago to kind of maybe get on out and do some things. And NASCAR's got to come on into town. But hey, you mentioned Saturday night races. Well, we get one this Saturday, so we can all sit back and enjoy the races Saturday. Again, it's the cutoff race as we enter the round of 12. It's the Bass Pro Shops night race down at Bristol. I've been to this track a couple times. Love Bristol. I've been to two of these three tracks in the playoffs, and Darlington and Bristol I've been to. Bristol's not a bad seat in the house. Absolutely love it. Are we going to see a non-playoff driver win this weekend, William? We've already seen playoff drivers win the first two weekends. And now we get the cutoff race. This one's going to be absolute mayhem. I mean, we both said it. Belle is the only one that's locked in the round of 12. So everybody else has got to fight. Some guys have to fight a little bit more. Some guys only need a handful of points. You know, Kevin Harvick, damn near a must-win situation. I'm expecting chaos again. We already know what happened between the 9 and the 4 last year. I'm expecting a lot more of that kind of drama as, you know, maybe once you know what stage 1 did and once you know what stage 2 and you kind of see like the live order of where the standings are and where guys need to do in stage 3 to move them up. Stage 3 is going to be chaos.
I'll say this. We won't see a new winner this weekend, but I believe by the time we go to Phoenix for the final race of the year, we will have 20 different winners. I believe Truex will get a win at some point in time this year. That would make it 19. And someone random is going to win Talladega. I'm sure someone is. I look at Ty Dillon, Harrison Burton, Almirola, and Custer. I don't know. I look at them, but I believe we'll see 20 different winners. But the answer is no new winner this weekend in Bristol. I believe a playoff driver will win, and it's going to be a big win too.
What do we think in terms of short track racing? It hasn't been the greatest with this next gen car. It's kind of picked up, but early on the season it was god awful. I mean, absolutely god awful. Obviously, with the playoff intensities and everything that the playoffs brings to it, will raise up the excitement, raise up the drama. But what do you think in terms of the actual racing? Obviously, it was dirt here last time we were here earlier in the spring.
I believe that the racing product is going to be a lot similar than it was in Martinsville and Richmond. It's not going to be phenomenal by any means, and it's going to be very hard to pass. But it's the playoffs, and it's the elimination race. People are going to make passes. If that means they're going to bump someone out of the way, they will do that. That's the only way to pass, I believe, if this next gen car at Bristol for the time being, until they go to the R&D center and look at what they can do to make the momentum more efficient here in Bristol. Because by the time you have enough momentum to make a pass, you're already getting settled for a corner. Yeah. And that cannot happen with this next gen car. You live to learn. I expect next year for them to get it right. But most importantly, though, I think it's going to be hard to pass, and we will see a lot of cars getting torn up.
Okay, that was generally my thinking as well. That's why I think once you add into the playoffs and the just a hunger to need to gain spots and get up positions, I think will play a factor. And there'll be a little dirty racing. There's going to be some tempers to be flaring on Saturday night. Guys are going to be pissed. Guys are going to be, I think, screaming at each other in the garages or in pit lane. It's going to get heated, absolutely heated with this being a cutoff race. And you add in the fact that short track racing hasn't been all that great. It's going to be absolute firewalks. What do we think about maybe some teams? What about Hendrick? Remember Larson and Elliott? They led 175 and 129 laps each. Each led those number of laps last time we were here in the fall. Hendrick's going to be strong. Which Toyotas are you kind of looking forward to? You kind of looking for maybe Truex? I know you said there won't be a new winner. Truex certainly loves this track. What are you thinking here between maybe your Hendrick guys, your Toyota guys? Kyle Busch, I think he'll be good with the relief off him.
I believe that we will see the Toyota camp be very efficient this weekend. Christopher Belle is the current points leader, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. I believe at the moment he's a true championship contender, and if he goes out here in Bristol and gets a top 5 finish, oh my gosh, Bristol is so much similar to Phoenix in all the different ways,
Yes.
fast and short. If Belle can win this, I can see him winning the championship. But I expect him to be very quick, Denny Hamlin to be very quick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr., and both 2311 racing cars. I also look at Stewart-Haas Racing, the 2 playoff drivers to be exact. Almirola is going to struggle as always, and Cole Custer is going to be running, I don't know, 5 spots to dead last. I don't know, like every week. But yes, Briscoe and Harvick, keep a close eye on them. Briscoe nearly won it on the dirt in the spring, which means absolutely nothing. But Harvick has won here in the past. He has what it takes to win here, so do not count out Kevin Harvick.
All right, good stuff right there. I think everybody would call us a little crazy if, before we moved on to our picks, if we didn't talk about this Kyle Busch moving over to RCR Racing. So let's talk about that here for a second. I watched the press conference. One of the big news is that came out of it, and I think everybody was wondering is what was going to happen with Tyler Reddick. Where was he going to move? Was he going to make the jump over to 2311 early? Was maybe Kurt Busch going to go ahead and retire? He's staying at RCR Racing. You can, in NASCAR now, you can lease a charter for 1 season. Under the new rules now, and RC said he was going to do that. He said he was going to lease one for 1 season. So Tyler Reddick's not going anywhere. What number do you think he's going to be riding in, William? And then also, are you a little bit surprised? Because I am a little bit surprised. Just kind of have like a lame duck. I know he's super young, talented, and that's why 2311 wanted to go ahead and snatch him up. But I don't know, kind of a lame duck, weird feeling. I thought maybe for the team chemistry between Dylan and Busch and just the team of RCR, maybe they would want to move on from Tyler Reddick, but no, they want his talent. There's a reason. I mean, the guy is super talented. Won multiple races this season. What do you think about the driver number? Then what do you think about the move overall? And Kyle Busch announcing his decision.
I believe that Kyle Busch going to RCR is a great addition to that driver lineup. You got Austin Dillon, the grandson of Richard Childress, who's starting to come into his own, and then you got Kyle Busch alongside him. Yesterday in that press conference, he did say he would keep Tyler Reddick if they have a charter. The question is, where is he getting that charter lease from? Is that Colleague Racing? They got 2 charters, or is it Spire Motorsports, the likely option here, or even Rick Ware Racing? Rick Ware Racing is a Ford manufactured team, so they're probably out of the picture for the time being. Colleague Racing is expected to go full-time next year of 2 drivers, so they're out the running. So we look at Spire Motorsports here in the 77 car. I can see that being a destination where that charter will be leased from, but he's not 100% sure yet because he did say in the press conference yesterday he was not ready to talk about it quite yet. And for Tyler Reddick's instance, he may not be racing with RCR next year. And a lot of rumors kind of say, hey, it's going to equal up to that, so Reddick will return next year, but nothing's solidified yet. And until ink is put on paper, nothing's official is all I'm trying to say here. But if he were to stay in RCR, which I believe will happen, but there's always a chance it doesn't, I look at number 31 as 31 is also of Haley, so you can't do that. But RCR used to have that number, so probably 29. They'll bring that out of retirement, the old Kevin Harvick number, or maybe even 27, which was Paul Menard. Bringing back some memories here. But yes, those are 2 numbers, even 33's on the table. I like to see what happens here.
Any chance Kurt Busch is going to hang it up? Any chance? I thought when RC said that he was going to keep Reddick, I was like, okay, well, they must have gotten word for maybe 2311 or something that Kurt Busch is definitely going to come back. And there wasn't an option to buy him out and ship him over to 2311. I don't know. What do you think? Think Kurt Busch is going to hang around now? That was surprising me because I thought that was the solution, right? Just slide him over into the 45.
I believed at first a lot of signs pointed towards a Kurt Busch retirement, but as of lately, as a Kurt Busch fan, I'm starting to gain hope that he will come back. I believe he will miss the rest of the season, but I believe he'll be back in Daytona going for the championship for 2311 Racing in 2023. I believe he's just staying it safe, has nothing to go for. He ain't going to go win the championship by any means right now. He's not in the playoffs, so he's playing it safe. I believe he will return just because Denny Hamlin is making it sound like that on Twitter. So I think Kurt Busch will return, so no issues there with 2311 Racing. And the 18 car is going to easily be fulfilled by Ty Gibbs, a great driver. He's learning the car. He's going to be ready to go next year.
Yeah, he's getting great work in right now. That's just going to be such an easy transition for him sliding right in, right there. All right, anything else on Kyle Busch or anything else on Bristol, or we want to jump into our picks?
One last thing about Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is a current owner of a truck team.
Mm-hmm.
And when he decided to move to RCR, I really never realized how much that's going to affect Toyota's development. Kyle Busch starts the Toyota development in the truck series, and they lends them out to JGR, and they go also to Junior Motorsports. Noah Gragson did that, but they're going to lose Kyle Busch Motorsports. And they got Chandler Smith on the driver lineup, John Hunter Nemechek, Corey Heim, Jesse Love, Sammy Smith. And what's going to happen there? Because it's pretty much going to go all to waste, and Chevy's going to gain another build-up team, and Toyota's going to be left in the dust. And that's not looking good for Toyota. I am sure they're regretting this, and I am sure they're on the phone as we speak probably with potential Toyota owners like 2311 Racing going to trucks. It would not surprise me at all, but enough said about that. It's just crazy. The Concordian effect of everything that's responding to this Kyle Busch situation is very crazy.
Yep, that was big, and you heard him in his press conference talk about KBM. While he's mentioned all the details weren't final, it was the first time in his career he had to take somebody else into account other than himself, and obviously KBM is a big part of that. So, all right, good note right there. They're going to be the Chevrolet brand, obviously, next season in the Truck Series. All right, let's go ahead and now move over to the NBC Sports Predictor app. Fun little game over here where you can win $10,000 if you can correctly predict this weekend's race down at Bristol. 3 stages. Got to give them the driver to finish best amongst the stage. And then you also have to give them the top 3. All season long, I give away $25 to the winner of the Winning Bets League. If you need that league information, you can grab it from the video description. Take a look and see who won last week. Oh, won't be giving out any money this week, but that's okay. That just makes this week at Bristol $25 more because we take these $25 and we roll them over into the next week. So big week next week at Bristol. Big week here at Bristol. If it's not big enough, we're giving away money here on the show. All right, stage 1, we had to pick between Belle, Blaney, Larson, and Wallace. Let's get a look at your picks, and let's get a look at my picks. We both went for... Oh, no, you went Belle. Okay, you went Belle. Why'd you go Belle?
Christopher Bell is starting to come to his own. Had a chance to win the last 2 Cup races. He's the current points leader. I like Bristol with Bell. I think that's a great combination. He's always good here in the past. Xfinity trucks and possibly Cup this time around. Give me Christopher Bell for stage number 1. He may not win this group, but at the least bare minimum, he can get 5 points for finishing runner-up in this group.
I went ahead and obviously went with Blaney, as you can see here on the screen. 4th at Martinsville earlier. 4th at Bristol here last season. Finished 5th and 7th in the 2 stages leading up to his 4th place finish at Bristol. So I think he's going to be good here on the short track on Saturday night. What was how hard was it a temptation to stay off of Larson? To me, it was Blaney or Larson. Maybe for you, was it Bell or Larson? Just to maybe kind of sum it up. To me, Larson, he's running into some really crappy luck, and earlier on he's having those issues pop up where he's able to salvage it and get a decent finish and make something of his night. But his beginnings seem to be too wonky for me lately to pick him. How big of a pick was it between presumably Bell and Larson, if it was between Bell
I
and
believe
Larson?
that 125 laps at Bristol for stage 1 can go by in the blink of an eye. And Kyle Larson isn't really necessarily the most consistent qualifier in the NASCAR Cup Series. It was down to obviously Larson and Bell. But Larson, he tends to struggle in qualifying, and Bell is usually more consistent, has a couple of poles this year, and said, you know what, Christopher Bell's going to be the man to do it. If he cannot win it, he can at least get runner-up, and that's all I'm looking for here to grab some points.
Yeah, and keep an eye on qualifying, right? We know these drivers are going to finish somewhere or start between somewhere 1st and 16 because that's how they do the playoff. You'll get 1st and 16. And maybe see where you're at. Maybe Bell gets a bad start. So good note right there. All right, between stage 2, we had between Chastain, Elliott, Harvick, and Suarez. You went with Harvick. I went with Suarez. I'm just going to tell you why I picked between Suarez. Here's the deal. Chastain's done nothing but make enemies all damn season long. Now we're moving to a short track with a lot of intensity, and I think there's going to be a lot of drama. Elliott and Harvick were part of that drama last season when we were, here most notably. And I think Suarez will be like the last man standing, maybe when everybody else has issues throughout the night. So I took Suarez. It's not like he's been a slappy. Yeah, I do think probably if we're going to make a prediction, he's probably going to be out of the playoffs at the end of this night. But I'm going to take a gamble right here and say Suarez for stage 2.
I believe Daniel Suarez is not a bad pick by any means. He's been consistent. He's been quick in the long runs. I believe that will be a big factor in stage number 2. So bravo there, but I think Kevin Harvick is just a tad bit better. Harvick is so good here in Bristol. Rodney Childress, his crew chief, knows how to bring a quick car to the Bristol Motor Speedway every single year they come here. They always get it trimmed out, and don't expect them to be pretty quick in qualifying. They're going to be set for the race. They're not going qualifying trim for the race like some cars will do. I believe race trim will be the thing. They'll get a bad starting position, but throughout the night they will gain spots and gain a lot of points.
That's the thing that makes me nervous with the 4 team and Kevin Harvick. You've seen it throughout the season. They seem to be really stinking good in stage 3. The first 2 stages, it feels like they're always kind of feeling their way through, getting their car in shape, where maybe other guys can just come out of the gate and be a lot better than Harvick. I've been betting money on him this season and kind of following a trend of him getting stronger, significantly stronger as the race, keeps progressing. So maybe stage 2 is a touch too early for him, but everything you've said has been, completely accurate, in terms of his dominance, in terms of his pedigree here at the short track and at Bristol. So I like it. All right, stage 3, we had it between Kyle Busch, Cindric, Dillon, and Reddick. You can see here on the screen, we both went with Kyle Busch. To me, it was easy based on his stats. Based on this being a short track, this kind of felt like a layup. Did this feel like a layup? Like I'm in high school making a layup, William? This was an easy one between these 4 guys.
It was pretty simple. Kyle Busch is good in Bristol. He is kind of struggling right now. He's got the new contract in place. It's pretty much like a slam dunk. And Kyle Busch easily going to make it to the round of 12. I believe he's right now looking outside of it, but I believe he'll have a good night here in Bristol and get into it.
Yeah, I thought with the drivers they pick, normally they make that one a tough one. I did not think that was a tough one this week. All right, we got to give these guys a winner. I think you're going to be shocked at my picks here. I think you're going to be absolutely shocked, but let's let you go through yours first, and then I can go through mine. But all right, you got 4. You got Harvick pulling on victory lane with all the pressure on the world, a damn near must-win situation. You think he's going to roll up to Bristol on Saturday night and get it done? How's he going to do it, William?
All right, Steve Letarte during Sunday's Cup race in Kansas made it very clear Harvick's 2 wins this year came in pretty much win situations. When he won at Michigan, he was not going to point his way in at all. He won. Went to Richmond a couple of weeks later and backed it up. Harvick can handle the pressure, and I believe he will this weekend in Bristol and will win and advance to the round of 12. Christopher Belle will come home in 2nd place. 3rd place will be Kyle Busch. And the 4 drivers I believe that will be going home will be Chase Briscoe, my driver. I hate to see that, but they got to accept reality. Briscoe's going home. Daniel Suarez, Austin Dillon, and Alex Bowman. Austin Cindric advances, and that's kind of my upset there, but hey, he's a Penske car, so that really shouldn't be a big surprise.
All right, yeah, I've got Bowman going out as well. When we did this before Darlington, we both predicted Bowman to go out. So, all right, you can see right there, I've got William Byron taking home that checkered flag on Saturday night. Finished 3rd here in the fall last season. Finished 10th and 4th in the 2 stages, so it was not a fluky 3rd place finish. He won at Martinsville earlier this season. Obviously, another short track. Strong in the playoffs. Been one of the stronger cars this entire playoffs. He finished 6th and 8th place, and that's what I'm going to look for is guys that are catching speed, getting momentum at the right time of the year, and 2 top 10 finishes and 2 playoff races. I'll go with William Byron taking home the checkered flag. Ryan Blaney will be right behind him. 2 of his last 5 at Bristol have finished in the top 5. He led 263 laps since 2019, so he knows what it's like to get the Penske car up in front and lead some laps. He's got the 6th best driver rating since 2019. And then 3rd place, I'm going with Kyle Busch, best driver rating since 2019. He's got a win. He's got 4 of his last 5 races here at Bristol have finished in the top 5. He's going to be up there. Love that his contract situation is even that much settled. This guy's going to be feeling good. Like him coming up this weekend. So, yeah, we both got him at 3rd. All right, cool. We cannot do the Fox Bet Super 6. I looked about 10 minutes before we jumped on here, and they still don't have the contest. So you'll have to look forward to us getting on here on Twitter. Follow our answers. But that game's kind of dumb anyways, to be quite honest. Kind of really tough. All right, William, I cannot wait. Admittedly, I didn't do the Hollywood Casino, but this one Saturday night, it's going to get all my attention, and it deserves your attention because the drama and the excitement, I think, is going to be right to the roof. Looking forward to this one. Anything else?
It's going to be a good weekend. Like I said in the intro, 4 drivers of winning the championship will have to wait another year.
4 what?
That's simple.
4. Oh, yeah, 4 guys. I didn't quite follow that thought initially. Okay, yeah, I agree. All right, cool. All right, man. Good stuff. Enjoy it Saturday night. Look forward to communicating with you through the race as we watch the excitement unfold. Enjoy it.